thechairshot.com. Always use your head.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
Warning. The Outsider's Edge contains strong opinions, unconventional views, and contrarian stances. Listen, if you dare.
Hey, yo!
Guerrilla tactics, it's time for warfare. Yo, we came to battle, yo, we aim to kill.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Rance, aka Ray Cash, here once again with another edition of The Outsider's Edge. Did you miss us?
They better miss us.
We've been gone about a week, 2 weeks? It's been a couple
2
of
weeks now, yeah. We didn't do a show last week.
Man, yes, but we are back, as Mike Greenberg from ESPN would say, back and better than ever. But before we get any further, let me introduce my co-host, my illustrious co-host, Mr. Kyle Moores, the Kota to my Kenny. What's up, brother?
Hey, how you doing tonight, sir? Hashtag bring Karl back. We still miss you, Karl. We still love you, Karl. And when you have time for us, we'll be here for you.
I feel like some Disney music should play in the background when we talk about Karl. But yeah, no, man, yeah. So we've been out 2 weeks. Sorry about that. I have had some pretty significant health issues, as is par for the course for me. But we're back. So my God, so much has happened in this fucking week.
So many
God.
things.
Okay, so we're gonna talk evolution. We're gonna talk very, very briefly Crown Jewel. We're gonna talk the big dog, Get Well Roman. But Kyle, you had something you wanted to point out to the listeners.
I'll start off with, what we're all thinking. I'm not a very religious person, but my thoughts and all my love goes out to Roman and what he's dealing with, and we hope that you get well soon. But a couple weeks ago, we started the show, everybody, with a reminder of why it is so incredibly important to go in and get your annual physicals, get your annual health screenings, because early detection for things like cancer are so important. And this incredibly unfortunate situation with Roman is a really poignant example of exactly what we're talking about. This is a man in peak physical shape. This is a man who is a premier athlete. This is a man who was an all-pro defensive football player when he got diagnosed the first time, and was the WWE Universal Champion when he got diagnosed the second time. And he's under the age of 35. So it can happen to anybody at any time. Get your health screenings done if you can afford them. It saves lives.
The big homie, well, he's not big, but little JJ Jerry his catchphrase is, "It takes lives to save lives."
Facts.
Yeah, man. I do. So I there was no episode of Chairshot Radio this week because of course, me being sick, Platt is working. So but I was able to guest on Ricky and Clive yesterday, so I did get a lot of things that you guys might hear me repeat today, but I do want to touch on Roman with you, give you an opportunity to say anything you feel about it or whatnot. Yeah, please, floor is yours.
I don't have a whole lot to say that hadn't already been said. I will say that I turned into Monday Night Raw like I do every Monday for the most part, and
At least
gave it the old college try.
At least the beginning.
Every week I turn in and give it the college try and give it the opportunity to earn my viewership. And I heard the familiar theme, and I saw him come down to the ring in his familiar clothes, and I thought, all right, here's the typical champion talkie segment to start Raw. Gonna probably promo this match that I don't care about at Crown Jewel. All right, let's go. And he starts talking, and then my jaw kind of hit the floor because I was like, what the fuck? I mentioned it a couple weeks ago. My mom battled breast cancer last year. So, cancer sucks. Cancer's a bitch.
No, Grandma
the
Bobby
most
did 2 years
important
ago.
thing, the most important thing is 100% his health, and he's doing absolutely what's best for him right now. I think what's unfortunate is that for so many people, it took something so serious to really appreciate Roman and step away from the fan angst. Um, nobody's immune to criticism, and I'm not going to sit here and say that like all the criticisms that were ever thrown at Roman Reigns were unvalid, because I've made plenty of criticisms about Roman and the way that his character was handled.
Hmm.
But I at least would always preface those claims, and I know a lot of people would, with the fact that none of that should be personal, because he's just a man doing his job. And if you don't like the way that he's portrayed, that's not because he's a bad person. And nobody deserves to have to go through something terrible like leukemia,
Let alone twice.
let alone twice.
Not to
Uh,
mention, this is about the same time last year that Rosie died, his brother, and his uncle Samu is dealing with stage 4 liver cancer. The Anoys are going through it right now.
well, and I will say this, though, it does make certain things that you always kind of wondered a little bit in terms of like Roman's cardio in the ring. He always seemed tired faster than some of the other stars. Not to say that he couldn't go. He could always go,
Yeah,
but always looked physically exhausted.
and for the record, I I don't dislike the guy, but me and him have had our spats over the years. I highly respect him, but we've had our spats. But Mr. Tito from LOP, that has been one of his biggest criticisms. He's always
For
said that
years,
he
for
doesn't think
years.
he's cardio he's has the cardio of a top star. Better yet, let alone a wrestler. I never believed it. I thought it was selling, but turns out it was real. It was real.
But it also explains a little bit of like why there was that gap between the end of his football career and the start of his wrestling career,
Two
where
years.
that like big 2 year gap where he would have theoretically still been in peak physical condition and all that. What was he doing for that time? Well,
And why
now we know.
and why did he get cut from the NFL? Because
Yeah.
he was clearly
And,
good enough.
and now we know, well, he was dealing with a very, very serious medical condition.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, you said something real quick. I'm gonna get back to you, but you said something real
no,
quick.
go ahead.
You said something about we didn't. So you said it, and it's true. We haven't appreciated him as a fan base like we probably should have. The Masked Man David Shoemaker, who is one of the premier wrestling writers on the internet, um, he wrote a column, of course, on The Ringer directly after Raw, and I want to read this paragraph to you, as I've sent it to a lot of people, and it's the most pointed paragraph I think about Roman so far. That's not from a wrestler, cause like Aleister Black had me in tears and all the, what I'm saying. But anyway, he says, authentic as it may be, Reigns' departure is now part of the story too. "Quote unquote, Roman Reigns fights leukemia," the WWE wrote in its press release. "I want to make one thing clear," Reigns said in the ring. "By no means is this a retirement speech, because after I'm done whooping leukemia's ass, I'm coming back home. When and if Reigns comes back, he'll be the conquering champion that WWE always saw him as. I don't mean that to sound snide at all. He's long deserved the role he was cast into, but WWE's insistence upon him hurt his stock." This is the point I want you to listen to. You could see the crowd, you could see the realization washing over the crowd during his speech. They had been so caught up in the meta storyline of Roman's ascent that they were willfully blind to the fact that they were witnessing greatness. Now life has wrenched the storyline out of WWE's hands. It changes everything about the entirety of Reigns' career so far, and it changes everything about his future in or out of the ring.
Something that will really always make that promo infamous beyond the content of it. That was his best promo because that was the most authentic that man has ever sounded.
He was
And
talking
it
about
was
himself.
because it's because he was being real. And one of the biggest criticisms about his promos for years has been how canned and scripted they sound
Hmm.
and how inauthentic it comes across. And seeing that authenticity and seeing how engaging he is as his authentic self, that is a Roman Reigns I'd like to see more of when he's recovered from what he's dealt with.
But I also think that's part of the reason why we loved him why we loved and love him in the Shield, because Roman's always felt comfortable when he's with when he's with Seth and Dean, even in promos. Roman's best promos have usually been either towards Seth or Dean or with Seth or Dean. And I'm not even just talking about like little blurbs, like him and Dean backstage bullshitting, or the three guys when they're laughing and joking, or they're doing their GoPro videos in the back. Like he seems comfortable there. I'm not saying he doesn't seem comfortable in the ring, because he seems truly comfortable with the situation, but you could tell he was trying to be, I don't want to say someone he's not, but he was saying something that he wouldn't necessarily say, whereas other top guys like Bray or Dean or Seth or AJ or even Bryan, they sound like they're well, AJ now notwithstanding, like last year and on. Right now is different.
No. Let's be real, okay? AJ Styles was a good talker for like a 5-year stretch of a 20-year career.
Absolutely.
Now, that's not to say that AJ is not an amazing wrestler and an all-time great, like, because he is both of those things. He is. But like, AJ was never a good talker. There's a reason he was part of Christian's coalition, and Christian wasn't part of AJ's crew.
Oh, AJ tagged with Tomko because Christian was the superstar. Yes.
AJ was Tomko's sidekick.
Yeah.
Not just tagged with Tomko,
Yeah.
was Tomko's sidekick.
Yeah. Shout out to Tyson Tomko, the problem solver.
Shout out to Tyson Tomko, the drug addict.
Oh, good point. I forgot about that. I forgot about that. But the guys I all mentioned, all, and those I'm talking about like the current top guys, all when they speak, even if it's written by Vince or Dunn or Hayes or
They find a way
Brian,
to make it authentic.
it
Samoa
sounds
Joe
like them.
finds a way to make anything they give him sound like some real
Some
shit.
Joe shit. Sound like some Samoa Joe shit. Yes. And Roman never got a chance or found the way to do that. 90% of the time he didn't. I mean, there's just 10% where he knocked it out the park. But so yeah, and that was a very valid criticism of his. I've never had an issue with criticisms. My issue has been number two. My issues are two things. Number one, I've had issues with the people who can't separate fiction from real life. Like you can hate Thanos, but Josh Brolin ain't got shit to do with Thanos. You know what I'm saying? But people attack this man. People find, I mean, the reason he left, the reason he stopped coming to the crowd is because they were chanting racial slurs at him and physically hurting him. Go back and watch WrestleMania 31 when he came down the crowd. It was brutal to watch. They were literally pushing and pulling the shit out of him, and
As
not like
always,
Michael Jackson
ignorant
forcing
ass
the pulling.
people gotta ruin shit for
I'm
everybody.
saying. And the second thing is, I spoke to this a bit on Ricky and Clive. I don't really want to get onto it here because I've had time to think, reflect, and calm down. I'm not as emotional about it as I was, because you will be hard pressed to find very many people on the internet who have a platform. I don't have a big one, but some type of platform like I have, that have had to stick up and wanted to stick up for Roman as much and as willingly as I have. It'd be hard for you to find more people than me.
This is true.
Um, so I was emotional, very, still am. But it bothers me that people feel the need to have to qualify. Well, I didn't like Roman. I didn't like his character, but bro, just wish the man well.
It's not about that right now.
No. Just wish the man well. Who gives a fuck about how you felt about his character? Wish the man well. That's all that matters. You know? But that's your way of saying, well, he's just like when the, when he announced that, and shout out to the crowd, because I want to give them all the credit in the world for realizing it was real and giving the man the respect and the reverence he
Yo,
deserved.
a hush fell over that crowd real fast.
Instantly, and I'm so
Real
thankful,
fast.
because there's some crowds out there, hi Chicago, that would have shit on him.
Hi,
And I'm
Pittsburgh.
hi Pittsburgh, yeah, hi Philly. Um, but anyway, I appreciate that. But when he said, my name is Joe and I've been battling leukemia for 11 years, one idiot still screamed, "You still suck." Those
And
people
for all
exist.
the speaking of that, for all the people out there who like are insinuating that this is a work, like Vince McMahon has done some fuck shit. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
Vince has done some fuck shit. But like there's a line somewhere in the sand, and I'm pretty positive faking a cancer diagnosis to get a performer cheered is way across that line of zones we don't go into.
I don't think anybody would go through that zone. And I mean, there's somebody that I'm sure that would, but yeah,
If this were if this were like 1997, I might could believe that they'd fuck that shit.
further
But
back.
like,
Remember Sandman when he got the fireball
oh
in his
no, if we're
eyes?
talking ECW, I'd believe anything.
Yeah,
Like, if we're talking ECW, I'd
yeah.
believe
That
straight up
man
anything.
didn't leave his house for 2 weeks. Yeah. So
So
I mean,
like,
but
no, if we're
no,
talking like,
2018.
but that's also 20 years ago. Yeah, we're getting old, y'all.
Yeah.
We're getting old.
In 2018, where ESPN covers wrestling, nah, bro,
Yeah.
it ain't
Nah.
happening. Sports Illustrated covers wrestling.
You
There,
trying to be on the Fox network and be nationally broadcast? Nah.
there prominent entertainment and sports media outlets are hiring wrestling writers, wrestling journalists. Nah, dog, that's not happening.
It's not a fucking work, y'all.
But
Like, that's
again,
not something people are joking about.
that goes to what I was saying. Some people hate Roman so much that they feel like Vince will do anything to get him over, and they can't separate the fact that he's just a fucking character. That's why I love the way he started the promo. Not just him saying that I'm a liar. I told you I want to defend this belt, this, that, and that, but I can't do that, this, and that. But I love the fact that he said, my real name is Joe. And it was like, I need y'all to fucking understand. This ain't Roman Reigns right now. This is Joe. This is Leah T. Joseph Anoy talking. Yeah, their real man's name is actually Leah T, but that's another conversation.
I mean, he Anglicanized it because he didn't want to deal with the fuck shit.
Just like he Anglicanized his eyes. With,
Yo, man, light-skinned privilege.
I'm saying, man. Um, so of course the only natural conversation to move to next is Seth and Dean.
How do we fill the
Well,
void?
we'll get to that. We'll get to that. I want to talk Seth and Dean real quick because number one,
That was some beautiful shit. Like,
no,
it was tragic, but that was some beautiful shit, man.
well,
I
somebody
could
said-
watch Seth and Dean fight for the end of time. Like, I really could.
Well, yeah, right. I want to talk about. We're gonna talk about that real quick. I just want to touch on them coming out and their embrace and how I cried like a fucking baby because I'm the biggest show mark out here. But that was
That's okay, man. Seth cried like a fucking baby because it's okay to have feelings and it's okay for a grown man to cry.
Oh, trust me, I ain't got no shame in crying. Um,
Oh, I'm saying that more so to the listeners too, because like it's okay for a grown man to cry, y'all. Like
very
that's
much so.
okay.
Yes, it's actually masculine to cry
And
because
cathartic sometimes. Like when
very
you found out that your best friend is battling leukemia again,
but you
it
didn't
is
know.
totally acceptable to immediately cry.
So I'm sure Seth and Dean were going through their minds thinking, these past 6 years, man, this dude probably has done some weird things, you know. I'm point to one thing in particular. I watch the ride-alongs, the one with Roman and Dean, and then the one with all the Shield, and they're joking that the big dog always got to sit in the back because he's always tired trying to go to sleep. There's a reason for that, and they were joking about it like it was just a character quirk. But man, like what that man's body is doing right now. But yeah, in that moment, which is probably of all my years watching wrestling, is gonna be one of the most replayed memories in my mind ever from wrestling.
Iconic for sure.
Iconic for sure. When they embraced, they did the Shield pose, and then they embraced again. That wasn't Roman, Seth, and Dean. That was Joe, John, and Kobe. And it goes to show you in the outpouring of love that not only every wrestler, but every wrestling organization, other sports figures, the Garden has his picture on the marquee
On the
right now.
marquee,
You know what I'm
yo.
talking about? Like, and
Yeah.
I'm sure some of that definitely is grandstanding for some of the like organizations. But with these wrestlers and the people that know him, it's real. Read what they're
Well, and
saying.
with the wrestling promotions, it's real because
Sure.
like they know what he means to that industry. Like New Japan knows that without people like Roman Reigns, ain't 20,000 people filling up the garden for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just
But
further reason why, and again, this is probably Salty Rants talking. When people questioned why did Roman get the push, maybe he deserved it. Look at all the people who say that not only was he the top guy, not top guy, but the
what's
locker room
telling is the
leader.
people that's what's telling. What's telling is the people who all these people who are either not some still with the company, some not still with the company, but the number of people who said the same thing. He was the leader of the locker room. He was our leader. He was one of the leaders. He was the guy in the locker room. Like
Mhm.
that's that means a lot.
What he did for Alster when Alster, who's been wrestling longer than Roman has, was trying to pay his dues and get water and fold clothes, and he grabbed him and said, "Don't do that shit no more. You belong here just as much as the rest of us." Like that, he didn't have to do that. Or how he's personally made every single cruiserweight feel like they're a part of the roster, or how he's gone out of his way to make the women
Which
feel like
is nice
they
because
deserve.
WWE damn sure ain't gone out of their
I'm
way to make
saying
cruiserweights feel like the
he's
roster.
done more than Vince and Paul have done. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out that it's that I think some people thought he didn't earn a spot. People thought he got a spot because he looks good and he's The Rock's cousin. Very clearly, since FCW, they've known that man
Really
was something
very
special.
respected.
Yeah, he was special.
Yeah,
He
Eli Drake says it goes all the way back to FCW, y'all.
yes, he has a lot of the from what I'm reading and seeing, and I believe this myself. A lot of the qualities that
And that's
Taker
what a
has.
company like you don't.
Say that again.
Oh, I was just saying shout out to Eli Drake because your company may suck, but you don't.
No, you don't, but your company absolutely does. Uh, yes. And people in your company still believe that your company sucks. Shout out to Austin Aries. I'm sorry. Shout out to the Promise Ring.
Wait,
Um,
I thought he was not with the company no more,
I don't know what they're
according to the
doing.
Canadian Destroyer.
I'm sa- I'm saying, have you ever heard of a Petey
Lil Petey
Williams?
Pump, man.
Have you ever heard of a Petey Williams podcast before that day?
Lil Petey Pump says he's not with the company no more.
So yeah, so so Seth and Dean and what they did, I guess leads into the topic of how did they fill the void.
How do you fill that void, man? How do
Um,
you fill that void? I think
so
it's not coincidental that Dean and Seth break up at the same night because you're gonna need a babyface star, and you can't have Dean and Seth together if you need one of them to be the singles babyface guy.
sure, and they turned Braun back, which I would have had a problem with had I not known about Roman.
Oh, please let Braun beat Brock. Please let Braun beat Brock.
Please,
Please let Braun
please,
beat Brock.
8 pounds 12 ounce baby Jesus. Let Braun
Please,
beat- um
please. Oh,
uh
no, Brock Lesnar.
by the way, have I want to note, have you noticed that Seth destroyed the Shield because of for fame and ambition? Dean destroyed the Shield because of a broken heart.
I saw that. Like,
But
that's.
think about like everything. Remember this. Dean and Roman have never had beef. Yeah, they feuded for like a couple weeks, but they even when they were fighting, it was always I'll get the beers after whoever loses.
I mean, my Raw watching is very intermittent, sir. So, like, I don't have as much of the historic context as you.
Oh, I can
Um,
tell it all. I
but I mean,
yeah,
I just know that I could watch Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins till the end of time because that is
fight forever.
an iconic rivalry.
Am-
Yeah.
Ambrose Rollins, Zayn Owens, and New Day Usos are on some fight forever shit.
Yeah, speaking of tag teams, like that's another void we got to fill, but like we'll get to that in a second cuz y'all the Raw tag team division is still a dumpster fire. The
AOP
credible
finna come
teams
and
they
destroy
got
everything.
are falling apart. That division is still a dumpster fire.
Oh, but no, but AOP's gonna come and destroy Seth because they're gonna make him. Corbin's gonna make Ambrose and Rollins defend against AOP. Ambrose isn't gonna show up clearly. Seth's gonna get destroyed by AOP, new champs, and we're gonna have dominant champs, just like the Bludgeon Brothers a few months ago.
We're gonna have dominant champs in a division full of scrubs and geeks.
Who you think they'll build up to face AOP first? Because that's
The
clearly where
consummate
they're
geek squad that is the Revival.
Are they gonna be babies?
Or who the fuck knows? Does it really matter at this
I'm
point?
glad you didn't say who
The
the
Raw
fuck cares, because that's what you're gonna say.
The Raw tag division is such trash that it doesn't even fucking matter at this point. Because here's the thing: if it's not them, it's the B team. Because who are the other tag teams? Fandango's still hurt, so Breezango ain't shit right now. Matt Hardy had to retire, so Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy ain't shit right now.
Heath and Rhino, and let me tell you, and again, I know they're geek squads. I understand that, but I'm just talking from a booking standpoint. WWE often doesn't do things on everything they do is calculated. Now they might change their mind, but they did everything for a reason. Remember a couple of weeks ago, right before the Battle Royal, where the Conquistador won, as Kurt Angle won as the Conquistador. He's went up to Corbin and said, "I want to be in. I want an opportunity." Like, you suck. No, I feel like something's brewing, and they want to do something with Heath Slater, even if it's just get him on TV more or something. And in fact, I'm gonna tell you this: I wouldn't be shocked. And I'm fantasy booking now. I wouldn't be shocked if Rhino turns on him, and Heath teams with Kurt Hawkins, and they pull.
Oh, you mean him and Jinder aren't gonna get back together?
Oh no, Jinder's on the Shanti shit. Mm-mm.
Man, you know what Heath's biggest mistake was?
Being
Not
Jinder?
getting fired.
Oh.
Because no, listen, Jinder and Drew got fired and they came back and they got pushes. Heath never got fired and his ass is still in the basement with the rest of the geeks.
As Jalen Rose says, he keep getting them checks though.
Yo, I mean, he cashes a fat check to catch that ass whooping.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's got to catch it.
So this is how I'm kind of seeing the void, if you will. I'm seeing.
Bryan and Drew. It's a void. Like, let's make no mistake about it. That's a legitimate void. Because, like, if you think about the top of the card, like, granted, I know I don't watch Raw like everybody else does, but if you look at the top of the Raw card for the last year and a half, it's been three people: Braun, Brock, and Roman. And if Roman's gone and Brock is hopefully Jesus let him be gone, then that means you got Braun and ain't shit else. You can promote Seth and Dean at any time, sure, because they're Seth and Dean. But outside of that, like, there's a bit of a void, and a lot of the guys on that roster have some credibility issues.
So I didn't mean that from a negative standpoint. I meant. Okay, so let me correct that. The void. So I'm gonna throw some ideas out here. You tell me what you think. I think very clearly, assuming Braun wins, which is the fair assumption, we're gonna go Braun Drew.
Yeah, that's probably a thing.
Okay.
And I will say this before we do some of these other scenarios: if nothing else, nobody can blame Roman for the product anymore. Because he's fixing to be gone for a long time. So if you still got some problems with the way they're booking that shit, you can't blame Roman, y'all.
It's so fucked up. But from a career standpoint, is it fucked up for me to think that this might be the best thing that could have ever happened to him?
It could prove that a lot of the criticisms were unfounded. Because if, like, for example, if live gates and shit continue to decrease, then that ain't had shit to do with Roman Reigns and never did.
I want y'all to understand something. I don't like to be the guy that said I told you so, but I will be unfathomably bad if all the stuff that I said is gonna happen happens, and everything that I've been telling y'all for 4 years. My God, you won't be able to shut the. In fact, I love you. I love you, man. I love you. I love Karl. But it's gonna be a solo podcast probably for a while, cause it's gonna be 2 hours of me telling y'all I fucking told you, talking shit about it. Oh my God, it's gonna be horrible.
Rance has been keeping receipts for like years, y'all. Just waiting.
And why you joking? Kyle knows me too well. I'm the type that keeps the receipts. I'm the type. I have a very petty side. Yes, I do. So of course we got Braun, Drew, and Seth and Dean are the ones that's set in stone, right?
Yeah, those are the foundational feuds for a little bit going forward.
I am actually personally looking forward to Finn Lashley, especially considering how, if you listen to the
At least
commentary,
somebody's looking forward to Finn Lashley.
I am for two reasons. A heel Lashley with the manager is a Lashley I can get behind, and anytime they utilize Finn, actually utilize him, I can get behind that.
Leo Rush is doing his job well because I hate this little motherfucker.
There you go.
I want to throw him like a fucking lawn dart.
hmm
Like, when I'm sitting there watching this match that should be good because it's two guys that can go in the ring, and every 5 seconds he's screaming Lashley's name, I just want to reach through the screen and just, like, kick his ass in the face.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
he's doing his job. Like,
And
props to you. You have made me never want to see you on television.
And we care about Lashley more than we ever cared about him, at least on his return back. And Finn being the consummate babyface, Lashley being able to be the bully that he can be with an and incessant manager, it works. And if you listen to the commentary, when Finn came out, and by the way, God bless Finn and Lashley for having to come out after the Roman.
For having to follow that
My
up and having to
God.
keep their shit together while they
And-
follow that up.
And you can see Finn's face as he was coming out. He was trying to smile, but he was like, "This, I'm not here." That's why the match was so small, so short. I mean, no,
No, the
they
match was short because, of course, the geriatric old folks home had to take up a half an hour of the show again this week.
no comment. So,
Because
no
you
comment.
know that shit was trash.
I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth.
Trash.
It is funny how they address the fact that people think they're old, and this is just a nostalgia act. I appreciated that they addressed it, but we'll talk about that, I'm sure.
No, we won't, because you know I have nothing good to say about that.
You're probably right. We probably won't talk about that. Yes. But they said about Finn that he feels like he's let his fan base down because he hasn't been as successful as they want him to be or he wants to be, and he's kind of refocusing himself. And you notice he didn't come out with Bailey. It wasn't no play shit. It was serious Finn. I mean, it was GQ Finn, but it was serious GQ Finn.
I mean, you know, if you look like a GQ model, you should just rock that shit.
I mean, that coming from my gay brother, that's fair.
I mean, yo, if Finn wants to do his Versace thing or whatever the fuck you want to call that, like, whatever, do you, man.
I ain't mad at that, but you know what? I could appreciate and go without having him put his dick in my face every time he comes out.
I mean, you know, I'm not asking for that either, like, personally, but, like, you know, do you, Finn? Do you? At least you're getting on TV every week. There are a
Amen
lot
to
of
that.
people that aren't getting TV every week.
Amen to that. And we call them the what?
The Geek Squad.
There we go. So
Catching that ass whooping.
Catch that ass
since
whoop.
The beginning.
that's by the way,
Um,
that's a T-shirt coming to a shop near you.
So do you think the apparently face now Elias is going to get some kind of anything push?
A lot, yes, well, he's
Is
always
he
got
actually going to
stuff.
wrestle now?
Well, Corbin's gonna make him.
Oh, Corbin's going to make. Oh, that's why they're doing this. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? Whatever. Like, I don't necessarily want to see Corbin in the ring right now because of the way that he's wrestling, but like that theme song is fire, so whatever.
Absolutely. And more Elias is not a bad thing. Elias is good in the ring.
Oh no, I'm good with Elias. Like, Elias knows how to get the crowd engaged. Everybody loves to scream walk with Elias, and he knows how to work a match. I'm curious to see if he'll change his style up any as a face and do less of the chin locks. Because a lot of people feel like that's all he knows how to do. It's like, no, y'all, like, if my goal is to make you not want me to win, then I'm just gonna wrestle the most boring style possible.
But people don't understand. That's the same reason Randy Orton's done a million chin locks and Baron Corbin's done a million chin locks. They don't understand wrestling. Here's my wild card. I'm gonna tell you the guy who's about to come back and be pushed not to the moon, but have a very significant push. Bray Wyatt.
Yo, I'm down. I'm
It's
a day
time.
one Bray Wyatt mark, so like I'm down.
Not only is it
He's been giving them cryptic tweets.
yes, he's been gone long enough. He's been giving them cryptic tweets, and I keep referencing this because it was probably the best, I think, the best anecdote written. But Aleister Black mentioned that the 4 locker room leaders were
Are
Roman, of
him,
course,
Bray,
Roman, Bray, Seth, and Finn.
Seth, and Finn.
And I believe that because Bray has a lot of respect from his peers.
Well, Bray's a third generation.
Third
Generation wrestler. His, father was
brother,
very
father.
successful.
His uncle was probably more successful than his father.
His uncle was more successful than his father, but like I have a sentimental place in my heart for IRS because I'm a $1 million man, Mark. So
That's
like,
fair. That's fair.
you know,
And shout out to Mike Rotunda for having all of his kids look just like him.
yup,
That man has some strong DNA, bro.
yup,
Even his daughter looks just like him.
yup.
Um, but hey, so if that's my 4, if those are my 4 foundational feuds, talking about Braun, Drew, Elias, Corbin, and even if it's not fighting Corbin, Elias and the Authority, if you will,
Hmm.
um, Seth Dean and Finn Lashley, and you give me Bray coming back, AOP running roughshod over the tag division, and then you give me Ronda and give me like 2 good women's feuds. I think Raw can manage.
I have a question. Speaking of people who are out on Raw, I know Kevin Owens has a knee injury and he had like surgery, but what kind of knee injury? Are we talking torn ACL kind of knee injury? Are we talking like meniscus? Are we talking arthroscopic?
I don't know what the injury is, but when I read it's 6 to 8 months.
Okay, so that's a ligament.
Yeah,
That's a ligament. Okay.
yeah. So him and boy, they could use Kevin and Sammy right now.
Yo, Kevin and Sammy might be due back at the same time now.
But even if they are, hold Sammy off, because Kevin has to come back as a face, and Sammy has to come back and be like, "What the fuck you doing, bro?" I need to see them with the roles reversed.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I need grumpy grandpa Sami Zayn to be like a thing again. I'm all
Oh
for
man.
Sammy coming out with his fucking reading glasses and unfolding the notes. Like all I need is for him to have a fucking handkerchief that he keeps
Oh,
in the front pocket of that
and
jacket.
he wipes the glasses with.
Yeah. After he breathes on them and then offers you a Rolane.
Oh, so you want him to go full on old person?
Like,
You want him,
it works.
you want him to keep the strawberry candy nobody could ever buy from a
Yeah.
store in his pocket?
Yeah, the Werther's Originals.
Where do you buy them? Do you buy them at a store? I've never seen them in a store.
I don't know. I'll ask my dad the next time I talk to him. He's an old man.
Ah.
Who has
Oh
those
man.
candies? I ain't even bullshitting you.
What do you do with Dolph? Do you keep
Uh,
Drew and Dolph together and just let it be Drew and Dolph against Braun?
I have Drew fuck Dolph shit up.
I don't think it's gonna happen yet.
I don't think it will either, but that's what I would do just because, like, I don't necessarily care about either one of them. So if it's 2 people I don't care about, have them beat each other up.
2 birds, 1 stone. That's fair.
Yeah, put them
That's fair.
put them together. Put them together.
So, I want to transition this into Evolution because I was gonna ask you.
Speaking of cards with a bunch of matches I don't care about.
Well, we'll talk about that. We'll definitely talk about that.
Which
But
is not to say that I'm anti all women's pay per view, because I do not want it to come across that I am against an all women's pay per view. I would mark hard for a well booked all women's pay per view. This is a moderately booked all women's pay per view with a really, really strong main event.
So the problem is the timing, of course. The problem is the lack of real promotion, and the problem is that it's the first of its kind. You're gonna be stuck in the nostalgia loop. So
Well, and part of the
having to
problem,
fill everybody in is rough when you can't just say I'm gonna book the best matches. I gotta book Trish and Lita. I gotta book this person. I gotta book Nikki. I gotta book. You know what I'm saying? It's difficult to say give me the best shit.
there's that, and part of the problem, going back to what you're saying with the timing, is we've been saying for a couple weeks now, too many shows all at once. And the reason this is a problem is because what happens is at least one of those shows ends up the forgotten about show.
Yeah.
And the show that they end up half-assing is this one because they're relying on that first ever women's show vibe to carry everything.
And it's sold out, so it's worked.
And I'm so happy that it's sold out. I'm so happy that it's sold out There are a handful of matches on this card that I am very, very, very much looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of matches on this card that I just don't give a flying fuck about.
So there's your problem. There's not a lot of matches on the card. So that's the problem. The biggest. I guarantee you the next one will be better if for no other reason. The Mae Young Classic and the NXT title won't be on the line. Because as much as those probably might be the two best matches from an in-ring standpoint, they're killing because those matches are there. Ember and Nia and Asuka and Naomi and Carmella. People like that can't have another match.
No, see, I'm not going to argue that. I think you could still have those matches on the Evolution card, but the reason the next one will be better is because they won't feel obligated to put all of the Hall of Famers in the show. So we won't have to have people like the Buzz in the main event. We won't have to have Trish and Lita in this tag team, whatever. We won't have to have all of the legends coming into the Battle Royal because they can be in the Royal Rumble instead because that's where legends go. We won't have to have all of these things that we're doing because this is the first ever women's show and we've got to put all of these women who played such a huge part in paving the way before in it.
But you're right. You're absolutely right. But you could also have done that still if you just kept a main roster.
See, here's my problem with the NXT title match being on the show. I love Shayna Baszler. I like Kairi Sane well enough. This feud has run its course, and I don't want to see it anymore.
Well, this is the end of the feud. They're tied 1-1, so it's apropos.
But here's the problem.
Actually,
Kairi Sane feels like a transitional champion in the worst way.
It does feel that way. Yes, it does.
She feels like the worst kind of because if you look at all of the women, below her, all of them are more interesting. Lacey Evans, more interesting.
Bianca.
Candice, more interesting. Bianca, way more interesting.
Yeah.
Like, all of them are more interesting. Mia's more interesting.
Yeah.
Chelsea Green just signed. She's more interesting.
Yeah.
Io Shirai is in the Mae Young Classic. She's more interesting.
Well, she signed, but yeah.
Yes, but you know what I'm saying? Like, so many of these women that are below Kyrie are more interesting than she is. And so, like, her being champion, I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, the pirate thing will get really over with the kids on the main roster, but, like, right now I just don't care.
No, you're right. You're right.
Because that gimmick, I still maintain that gimmick will get over on the main roster with little kids because they'll mark for that pirate shit.
Well, that and much like Emma, she can wrestle. So
yes, she can.
All the ridiculousness of it will you'll still be interested in her because she can actually go. So
that elbow drop she does is beautiful.
Yeah, it other than Dream, it's the best in the game, I think, right now.
Absolutely,
and hers is a better elbow, but Dream just gets so much air with his.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, you're absolutely right. But I'm just saying that. So okay, just thinking about it logistically, Shayna's gonna fight Kyrie here, right? But we got Takeover, not Phoenix.
War Games too.
It's in LA this year. I couldn't remember where it was, but Takeover War Games in a month. So it's gonna be another women's title match. And I'm not saying NXT doesn't deserve the spotlight, because Lord knows that's the best television on WWE television right now. But
some of the best wrestling television period right now.
Yes, it's probably the best. New Japan might have better in-ring performances, but they have better storylines. We're gonna talk about that in a minute. But you keep that shit NXT. And then you have the opportunity for 2-3 more matches with your talent, and you can still kill the proverbial two birds with one stone. Acquiesce your legends and put them in some matches that matter and might move the needle, and you still have a spot for people that deserve the spot. Carmella was the champ for damn near all year, and she's in a battle royal.
She's gone right back to being what she was before too. Like,
well, because she's faced Carmella, and face Carmella always was another nobody.
Spontaneous dance break.
That shit's funny as hell, though. I can't front.
Oh, I mark for it every time. But
the reason I wanted to move to Evolution, of course, because it was the natural conversation to go there and not necessarily preview it, but break it down a bit. but also because as we're talking about the Void on Raw and what they can do to kind of build it and like the scope of it for the next few months,
Give more
Ronda
stories to the women.
give more stories to the women, and Ronda got to have a feud next because I doubt any of us believe that Nikki's gonna beat her, and the Bellas very surely aren't gonna be there full time forever, and if they are, they're not gonna be feuding with Ronda for a couple of months.
Well, I have a prediction about that I don't think will be necessarily popular for certain reasons,
Okay,
but that prediction is based entirely on card placement.
break it down.
Okay, so for this prediction to be accurate, the NXT Women's Title match needs to be early in the show. It needs to be like the opening match
Which
because,
it might be.
in my opinion, here's what's going to happen: Kairi Sane's going to win that match, I believe,
I
because it
do
is
too.
the blow off to the feud, and Shayna's beyond that title at this point.
Agreed.
So Kairi wins. Where I think it goes from there is we pull that old school trope of badass performer beats the shit out of little performer and takes their spot in the battle royal. So like Shayna jump zones Dakota Kai because that's just appropriate and
Uh,
takes Dakota's spot in the battle royal
it has to be Dakota. It's always Dakota,
because it's just fucking appropriate.
like Edge did with Kofi in the Chamber.
Like Tess did back in the day in the Royal Rumble.
Was
Like
it the Royal Rumble or was it the? No, it wasn't the Royal Rumble.
no, it wasn't the Royal Rumble. It was the
It was
Survivor
the
Series Battle
Survivor,
Royal.
the Immunity Battle Royal. Yeah.
Yes, because he won a year's immunity, so you can't fire me, Stephanie.
Yeah.
But anyway, Shayna jump zones Dakota, takes her spot in the Battle Royal, wins the Battle Royal, and then chokes Ronda the fuck out after she beats Nikki.
So I'm here for that because I am 100% a Shayna Baszler fan. Here's the one devil's advocate of the situation. Shayna is so good and so potentially big for WWE and having that vicious and legitimate of a heel, right? Who
Who's
has
like a way legitimate and more established wrestler than Ronda is right now. Because
absolutely
she did all of that time on the indie scene.
yes, and she has real gravitas outside of wrestling.
Yeah, Shayna Baszler has the gravitas, but Shayna Baszler is also a damn good pro wrestler.
Absolutely. So if you bring her up just to have her lose her first feud to Ronda, you kind of blow your load. I think Shayna's the type of person that you have to build up and let her make her mark. Not so necessarily make her mark, but let her prove how big of a bully she is. That's the problem when we call up the NXT people is we call them up expecting the main roster audience to know everything about them. They're not gonna know how big a bully Shayna is. They might not even know that
Okay,
Shayna and Ronda know each other.
I'll give you an alternative.
Okay.
She chokes Becky the fuck out at the end of the last women's standing match.
Now I would like that too, but Becky's so good as a smart ass heel.
Yeah, but she can still be a smart ass heel and go up
No,
against a badass.
no, it's as my boy Jadakiss said in the song why Denzel had to be crooked before he took it. Becky had to be crooked before Becky flew to the performance center
Yo,
to
Becky is
jump.
the best thing in the WWE right now.
She
I'm not
is,
even fronting.
but she
Becky
is
is my WWE champion.
she is unquestionably a despicable Samoa Joe esque heel. There is no questioning it now. When you fly across country to jump somebody for no other reason than just cuz,
I mean, I feel like she did that weeks ago when she jumped Homegirl in the middle of a fucking photo shoot.
I'm
Bitch is
saying.
taking pictures with the title, and Becky just fucks her shit up and holds the belt over. Take a picture with the champ.
So I'm glad you
When
brought
she
that up.
told Edge to get the fuck out of her ring, I was like, yep,
Yes,
that's my queen right there.
I gotta
All
be honest
hail
with you.
Rebecca Quinn.
You can't really, you can't kayfabe me anymore. I got old most of the time. Like I know it's a show. That pissed me off so much. I realized, damn, wait a minute, she's doing a good job. Cause I was like legit mad. Like you can't talk to Edge like that. It's Edge. She got
Did you
me.
just bring up his neck injury,
Did
you
you tell him?
heartless wench?
Did you tell a 13-time, 11-time world champ to get out of your ring? Oh my God. Yeah, so she's
Yo,
doing her
he
job.
might be an 11-time champ, but who's the current champ? Becky Lynch.
Speaking of that, so my prediction for that match was Charlotte winning. And the reason I said Charlotte was gonna win is because, just like we said, Becky has beat her ass from sea to shining sea, dog. From the West Coast to the East Coast, from the Midwest to the dirty South. She has jumped her. She's jumped at a photo shoot. She's jumped her backstage. She's jumped her at the performance center. Like,
So
you
let me
can't
tell you
let
why that means
Charlotte
she
go
still
out
has to
like that.
lose. So let me tell you why that means she still has to lose.
Charlotte still has to lose, or Becky still has to lose?
Yes.
Charlotte still has to lose.
Yes.
Okay.
Because conventional wisdom is we think they're building to Ronda and Charlotte at WrestleMania.
hmm
In that feud, who plays the antagonist? Charlotte.
Well,
Obviously hold on, let me finish.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Charlotte plays the antagonist because that's the natural role that she's good as fuck at doing.
Sure.
How do you turn Charlotte into an antagonist right now? You have Becky embarrass the shit out of her, and then you have her fucking snap on one of the girl geeks. That's how you turn Charlotte into an antagonist. That's how you pull that turn off. That's how you set the stage for winning the Royal Rumble and going over and trying to chin check Ronda Rousey.
That could work. That actually that could work. I'd be here for it. I don't necessarily think that. I think Charlotte and Ronda are essentially going to be Hogan and Warrior, or Hogan and Savage. In that you don't have to be a face.
Can we do Hogan and Savage? Because I at least like Savage as a human being. Hogan and Warrior is two terrible people fighting each other.
Fair enough. Yes. Two faces. Okay, Rocky and Cena. Is that better?
Yeah. I like both of them as people. They're both good people.
Dwayne.
Yeah, I'm sorry if that offends you, but like Hogan and Warrior are both terrible humans.
No, we know this. We know this.
That.
Yes. Yeah. So Dwayne and Jonathan. Yes. But in two super faces.
Okay.
And you can build it as the ultimate clash of the best. You know, basically what you wanted Charlotte and Asuka to be, but Asuka can't talk.
See, the conventional wisdom, this is one thing where I've always parted from the conventional wisdom. The conventional wisdom is that you can do babyface versus babyface, but you can't do two antagonists. Two babyfaces going at it bores the shit out of me. Two antagonists going at it sounds intriguing as fuck to me.
Yeah, but so look, me and you agree with that in that premise. The problem with two antagonists is somebody has to get the sympathy. The premise of wrestling was built on good versus evil. That's the premise of that wrestling was built on. So somebody has to garner the sympathy, unless you want to just have it a real life sport where both of them is gonna literally fight and whoever loses gets knocked the fuck out like MMA. Then I think you could do it. But if you're gonna tell a story with it, the only heel versus heel match I can remember two heel versus heel matches in my lifetime that actually worked. That's Edge versus Orton. I think on the Raw after
during
the
the
Raw,
rated RKO era.
Yeah, and I can tell you when it was. It was the Raw after Cena and Michaels did the 52-minute match.
Man, I wish Edge hadn't had such a fucked up neck, man.
I'm telling
Talk
you.
about a career cut short.
But the other one was the Money in the Bank match when they had all the heels in one and all the faces in the other. That match worked because Ambrose and Cody played the face, and that match actually turned Cody face because Sandow turned on Cody to get the briefcase. So ultimately, you have to have some sympathy and some type of a protagonist. They don't have to be a face, but they have to be a protagonist. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, no, I feel you there. I just feel like,
and real quick,
I think that what you
think about Sammy and Neville when they feuded. Neville played heel in the match, but he was very much still face throughout everything. Even after Sammy beat him, he hugged him. But Neville was like really playing the antagonist in the match. Sorry.
Well, no, all I was going to say is I think protagonist, antagonist is a better distinction to make because I think you can have a protagonist and an antagonist and have both of them still not be good people.
Absolutely. I completely agree with that,
For example, what they're doing right now with Dream and Ciampa. That is two antagonists going against each other, but one of them is more protagonisty.
I think they turned Dream full, baby. Because Dream is only fighting heels now.
I don't know that they necessarily turned Dream full, baby, as much as the fact that people like loves Dream,
Yeah.
Dream is like Rock. He's a bad guy, or Becky right now. It's a bad guy that you just love.
But hold on. Realistically, outside of the Aleister Black feud, what bad has he done?
Well, he's just a common narcissist, and narcissists are naturally the antagonist of most of their feuds.
Sure, but I'm saying
Oh, he's not a dastardly heel.
Yeah.
Like, he's not like a Triple H taking a sledgehammer to mankind's knee heel.
and he's not cowardly either because he always stand in a fight.
So, like, yeah, no, he's not that kind of heel, but I mean, he's a natural antagonist in all of these feuds, and you and I both know it.
No, absolutely. No, he's been a heel, but what I'm saying is he wasn't so much a heel, much like Elias, where Elias didn't do anything to turn babyface other than Elias is doing the same things as a heel that he was doing as a baby. Only difference is he hit a heel with his guitar instead of a face this time.
Can I just say that the guitar shot is the one time where, more than any other time, where I wish they would allow headshots again, because these guitars to the back just don't look as good to me as the Jeff Jarrett style bang.
Hey, but when Finn got it about 6 months ago, and people were like, "Oh my God, I hope he doesn't have a concussion," that fucked that up, because Finn got it completely in the head, and it looked terrible. I'm scared for that man.
Oh, I mean, I understand why they don't let him do it. I
Yeah.
totally understand. But that is the one time, like, most of the time I respect them. I'm just like, whatever, you can't do headshots anymore. It is what it is. But, like, when they do the guitar spots, I'm just like, man, just, like, crack that guitar over this dude's skull.
Oh, I cringe when I wish they could still have headshots with the chair. I'm not saying that I want it to happen,
and it doesn't even
understand.
And it wouldn't even have to be every time. Like, I'm not saying that has to be the default every single time you crack him over the head. But every now and then, like,
I don't think you could ever do it.
His head.
I don't think you would ever do it knowing what we know now. But I'm just saying, personally, I miss that because I cringe every time someone's waiting to hit somebody and then they gotta wait till they turn around and hit him in the stomach. And I hate that.
Nuts.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we veered as we tend to do. Evolution. So we talked about Ronda and because we know Ronda's gonna win. You think Shayna's gonna win the Battle Royal? Which means, and you think Kyrie's gonna lose? I think Kyrie's gonna win, as well. You think Kyrie's gonna win? I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
You think Becky's gonna win? I think Charlotte's gonna win. I think Charlotte's gonna drop it back to her.
We know the legends are gonna beat. Mickey's a legend in her own right, but we know the legends are gonna beat her and Alexa.
Well, and Alexa might not even.
Well, it's probably gonna be Foxy because Alexa's going through the concussion protocols and she's been having trouble passing.
Yes. But so
I have no desire to talk about the 6-woman tag match at all. So, like, let's not talk about that.
We don't have to talk about that. Everybody knows who's gonna win that match.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Yeah.
But no, I got Io Shirai in no, I got the other girl, but I can't remember her name.
Wow, that goes to show how important she is to you, Toni Storm.
I haven't seen the Mae Young Classic yet.
Oh, okay. Toni Storm.
Been on my list of things to get to, but like grades are due right now, so it's a little bit crazy for a teacher.
I haven't seen it either, by the way, but I've been keeping up with it. But Toni Storm versus
okay.
Io.
Okay. But can I confess that I've actually never seen a Toni Storm match, so I'm kind of excited to watch it.
That is okay. It's not that crazy, but see it as how prominent she was in both of Mae Young Classics and in NXT UK. That's but okay.
If I haven't gotten to the Mae Young Classic, do you think I've gotten to the show that airs at 3 p.m. Eastern time?
Well, that was last year's Mae Young Classic, which you had a year to watch.
We don't talk about that. All right.
Oh, my bad. Okay, sorry. Yes, much like Impact, we don't talk about that.
No, we don't talk about that.
Let me tell you why, and then after this, I'm gonna tell you who I think is gonna win the Battle Royal. But let me tell you why I think Toni Storm is gonna win instead of Io Shirai. Because I think that they're aware of the fact that there's gonna be a Japanese bias.
I mean, the Joshis are just that fucking good.
The Joshis are better. They very well are, but I don't think that they'll. I don't think that they'll set that up. And I think about it like this. Toni Storm very clearly is the queen of the NXT UK division. Rhea Ripley's amazing, but that's Toni Storm's division, right? We know
until further notice, yeah.
Until further notice, yes. Why would they put her in this match and not let her do something with NXT UK. You could have had Tony versus Rhea in just a regular match. So I think the
Why do
reason
you
why
think it is that the Joshis are so much better?
because because they've always been trained like the men.
You know
Whereas
what?
our women haven't been.
Say no more. I buy it. Yeah, say no more.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Fuck it. Yep. Perfect.
So Miko Satomura was getting beat down just as much as Suzuki was getting beat down when they were getting trained.
Yeah.
So it's different.
That makes perfect sense now.
But that's why I think Tony's gonna win. But my pick for I also have an out of the box pick for my whatchamacallit pick for my Battle Royal. I got Ember Moon.
Yeah, I heard you say that on the Ricky and Clive show yesterday. Shout out to Ricky and Clive.
Shout out to the brothers. I got Ember Moon because two reasons. Number one, she's been feuding with Nia, so they've been putting her back, not feuding, but back and forth with Nia. They've been putting her back in public eye. Two, if you look at the picture of that of the advertisement for that match, who's in the middle? Ember.
Black Excellence herself.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, yes, sir. I like that. Black Excellence. That's nice. And number three, you can feasibly make the match with Ronda make sense, much like you did Asuka, because no matter what happens, she got the one unbeatable move.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If she
That
catch
is
her with the Eclipse,
it is a
Ronda's
pretty
going
protected
down for the
move.
3. Yes.
Yeah, it's a pretty protected move.
The Eclipse and the RKO are the only moves people don't kick out of. There might be a couple others I'm thinking of, but those are the main ones.
If we're picking with our hearts, do you know who I would love to have win the match? Bianca. Because I love her.
If she's in it. If she's in the match. Is she in it?
I have no idea. But if she were in it, I would love her to win it. Because I love Bianca Belair.
Can you imagine if they let an NXT person win that match?
Yo, man, all I'm saying is, like, the sky is the limit for Bianca Belair. She's fucking awesome.
She's amazing. And she's undefeated. Yes.
Full neck.
Is there any other match that we didn't talk? That's it, right?
Yeah, I think those are all of them. We talked about both title matches. We talked about
NXT.
The NXT and the Mae Young and the Battle Royal.
And the Legends.
Yep, and then we said we're not going to talk about that 6-man because it features the female Geek Squad.
I'll say this though real quick. It's not about the match, but in general, the fact that of all the people who could have got the undercard match, the Riots got it, lets you know that they care about the Riots.
Which, I like Ruby Riott, so like I'm fine with her getting shine. I'm indifferent to the other two. I don't hate them. I'm indifferent to them.
But they're heavies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not
they
so much
are her
heavy,
muscle. But yeah, I mean they're her muscle. You don't have to be very big to be a female heavy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would love to see Ruby and Ronda next, but I'm sure that they'll do that down the line. So we're not gonna talk about it, but we'd be remiss if we didn't mention it. But Crown Jewel, as of today, was announced to still be on board. They're still gonna have it.
Yep, we're still gonna have it in that place where those people killed that journalist because they're kind of stuck in that situation.
When you sign it, just so ladies and gentlemen, kids and boys and girls and chickens and ducks and everybody listening, if you sign a contract, understand you got to live by that motherfucker.
And if you sign a contract that looks like shit, don't be upset if your hands smell.
And also, if you sign a contract with the murderous regime, don't be surprised when they murder somebody.
And mail the fingers back to their crown prince.
And then dress up another person to pretend that he's him so they won't think that he's dead.
While they meanwhile carry the dead party out of a building in pieces, in bags.
And all of we just said actually really happened.
Yeah, like none of that is bullshit, y'all. That is the actual story. That's how fucking crazy this story is. That's why literally the entire world is freaked out about it, including our government, even if they're pretending not to be.
They very much are. Now, I will say that the one thing is WWE I don't think they have anything to worry about. Because if anything happens to any person from WWE next Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, it's World War III because the McMahon is in the cabinet and the president is a WWE Hall of Famer. And Vince might cause World War III.
I mean, you know that's a fact because they sent 800 troops to the border because too many brown people were getting close. What the fuck they gonna do if a brown regime kills someone in their fucking corner?
I'm saying, and the brown people in the caravan are basically women, kids, and old folk. So these people trying to kill folk over there. I don't want to talk about the card. We may talk
The
about it
less
next
said,
week.
the better.
We'll figure out what we're gonna talk about next week, and I don't know. But I do want to talk one small, really newsworthy and noteworthy aspect of the card, and it's that
It's
apparently
not enough
John
old-
Cena.
no.
No, no, not that. No, no, because I
there's
want to
nothing
be.
noteworthy there that's worth noting.
I want to be so positive about that, but you won't let me, and I accept it because you're kind of right. But
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. He admitted that I was kind of right.
I am striking that from the record. Stenographer, cross that out. No, it. John Cena and Daniel Bryan apparently have mentioned and told WWE that they are refusing to appear. Cena actually said he ain't even gonna go. Bryan, of course, who still works there, just said I don't plan on going. We'll see what happens. But even if they both do show up, even if they do, which I bet money that they're both gonna be there, that's a hell of a stand to make. That's huge. I mean, don't you think? What do you think about that?
I mean, anything and everything that Cena says and does carries a lot of weight because, Roman is the current face of the company. Cena is the enduring face of the company up there with Rock and Austin and Hogan. So,
He's
he's on the
face
Mount
emeritus.
Rushmore.
He's the face emeritus, as they say
Yeah,
in churches.
he's on the Mount
Yes.
Rushmore of the business. So, him saying anything matters, especially because his star is real bright right now. But I don't know. I know that they're kind of in a position where they had to do this show, but I feel like they need to try their best to get out of this deal as quickly as possible because right now it's not politically tenable.
So, we we have two first fans that I consider like family. Shout out to Rob Daniels, but Darren Kirby, he's at Dej Kirby, DAJ Kirby on Twitter, always showing love. I had a long conversation with him today, and he said something very poignant. He had issue with it, and I told him, while yes, it's completely okay to have issue with this, if we had a problem with them going to countries that have human rights issues, they'd never do another show. And I realize that's an elitist way to think, but it's fairly factual. But going deeper into the conversation, he was like, well, the one criticism that I can say that is valid is don't sign a 10-year deal with the murderous regime, and then because this was even if you thought it wasn't gonna happen or you thought you'd get away with it, it was
It
bound
was
to
always a
happen.
risk.
Yes,
It was always a risk.
and that's very true and very valid. They should have just signed a 2-year deal and made them prove that they really have changed as a country.
And there
and
should have been
reward them.
clauses in this deal where, if this happens or this happens or this happens, y'all are in breach of contract and we're out.
It should, but Kyle, I'm going to give you a scenario. Let's say somebody offers you $450 million for your couch. Are you going to read the fine print, or are you going to take that $450 million?
Sir, I teach a law education class. I'm always going to read the fine print.
That's what you say until you see that money in front of your face. Oh, my bad. My bad. We don't speak.
They're not supposed to know that I'm shallow and have loose morals.
Well, you're
It's
human,
just
brother.
heavily implied.
You're human, brother. You're human. But you're absolutely right, man. And please understand, this isn't a arrogance issue. Like people think Vince is just too arrogant to not go.
This is
This is just a
they
legal
took
issue.
the money and cashed the checks. I know they got good lawyers, that's the big reason why I'm like, nah, there should have been clauses in this contract because I don't expect Vince to read that fine print, but that's what the fuck he paid them legal teams for. Some of them motherfuckers should have said some shit like, this is a real murderous regime. We might want to put some out clauses in this bitch.
Yeah, and you know what? I hate to say this, but that goes to Hunter because Hunter is executive vice president over talent relations and live events. So Hunter's the one who brokered the deal, and
Yeah, that's not Hunter.
it is, and he don't make very many mistakes right now. This could be one of those. Well, I say
Oh, ain't no
could.
could be. This shit is one of those.
I only said could be because if they didn't commit an egregious, crazy thing, it's a good deal.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. Like, it made sense to be open to making the deal. It's a terrible deal because, like we've been saying, like if you get in bed with the bees, you can't be surprised when you get stung.
Haters gonna hate, and killers gonna kill.
Yup. And when you a hating killer, you gonna do both at the same damn time.
Same time.
At the
Um,
same damn time.
yeah, pretty much. Um, you want to talk some NXT?
Yeah, let's talk some NXT. Let's talk about that dastardly, despicable,
Don't say his name.
no good
Don't say his name.
Johnny
Oh, well, you already said it. Now go ahead.
wrestling.
I wanted to build up to it for those who hadn't known. I wanted to build up to it, but
Ain't nobody listening to this podcast that didn't know. Our very loyal 15 listeners all knew this shit.
it's 35, brother. Get it right, okay?
You
Um,
shit.
so yes, the whodunit story with Aleister Black has come to a conclusion, and Nikki Cross, as crazy as her ass, then started all this shit, and apparently Johnny Gargano has outed himself as the one who attacked Aleister Black.
Despicable.
He dastardly.
No good. I wonder
So
if he snapped when that wedding ring got spit on. Maybe when he found the ring and put it back on, some of Ciampa's evil just oozed into.
well, that's the best part about this. Ciampa's so proud of him.
Yo,
Ciampa,
y'all, like, this is how DIY becomes a tag team again on the main roster to rescue the tag team division. Johnny
dog,
becomes just as despicable of a heel.
there's not many better wrestlers on Twitter than Tommaso Ciampa because he's been excellent ever since Johnny did this. He's talking about I've never been prouder of you. It's a tear in my eye. Hey Johnny. Hey at Johnny Gargano. We should hashtag Glorious Bomb Alster. Okay, you down?
Yo, I mean, we know where this has to go. At least if we live in a perfect world where we're allowed to have nice things. Candice LeRae will tease for weeks and weeks and weeks as to being conflicted about this whole thing. And then Candice LeRae will kick Aleister Black square in the balls.
Well, do we
And
want
Johnny
spoilers?
Wrestling and Candice Wrestling will be the most evil power couple in NXT.
So basically they'll be Andrade and Zelina.
No, they'll basically be Triple H and Stephanie only in NXT
Well,
without the power.
I say that because
I'm
Andrade
talking
and
McMahon
Zelina.
Helmsley era style shit.
I got you, but Andrade and Zelina basically ran the division for 6 months. So
Hey, if it's a good formula, repeat that shit. And
hey,
this
I'm
shit'll
with
be better because Candice is a way better wrestler than Zelina.
absolutely. So the question is, this is it's gonna be fantastic in ring. The question is, should Johnny have been the one to turn?
I mean, probably not, but like, I'm here for it.
So I
Be,
think
him turning makes sense if he's going to stay in NXT because the only story that they haven't told with him in NXT, as far as a babyface goes, would be finally winning the title. That's the only babyface story they haven't told with him. So if he's going to stay in NXT, you got to do something different. And this is something way different. Even if it feels a lot like a carbon copy of what they were doing with Eddie Edwards and that company we don't talk about. But, it's whatever.
yeah, but the difference is Eddie didn't get a bat to the face. I mean, Gargano didn't get a bat to the face.
Yeah.
That'll make you snap.
Well, and I mean, this will also be better because it won't involve Sami Callihan.
By the way, you want to know? I just had an epiphany about why Eddie snapped. Remember when Cactus Jack got hit in the head and came back as a drunken sailor
Yeah.
in
Yeah, yeah.
WCW? Eddie came back as a different person. He had amnesia.
The whole
That's why
time.
he.
It's not really Eddie anymore.
No, that's why he wilded out for so long.
I like it. I like it. It's more
Um,
interesting than what they were doing.
Anything's more. Remember that segment where Jeff Hardy was he was Randy Orton was talking and Jeff Hardy was painting and he was like, listening to you talk is like watching paint dry. That's Impact.
Unless Sue Young is involved.
You're a fan of her. I have yet to really see anything of her, so she could be great. I don't know. But I my I'm of the person. I'm of the idea that wanted to see Johnny finally get the mountain, hit the mountaintop, finally defeat Champa and get the monkey off his back and win the title as a baby. I am not a babyface fan. I am notoriously a fan of heels, but I understand the necessity for pure baby faces. And in the recent WWE times, it's only been three: Bryan, Sammy, and Gargano. We lost Bryan because of injury. Now he's just not as interesting as he used to be. We
Fact.
lost Sammy had to turn, and he's more interesting than he's ever been. But there was a reason why. And now Gargano. So I feel for those babyface fans, and even Becky. So I feel for those pure babyface fans who have nobody to that's like truly pure and white bread. That they
See,
can
I feel
stand
for
by.
them in a certain sense, but like white bread baby faces are boring.
To me too.
Layered baby faces with real tangible motivations and experiences that make sense. Give me all of that.
Give me
But
Seth
these
Rollins
white
over Sami Zayn every day.
baby faces,
Yeah,
nah.
I agree. Um, but I have learned to trust Paul. I've learned to trust Regal. I've learned to trust Ryan Ward and that whole staff down there, or whoever's. I don't know if Ward's still down there, Borash or whoever it is. I
Doesn't
learned to
matter.
trust
Whoever
those
they
guys.
got down there knows the fuck they're doing.
Absolutely. And I don't want to get spoilers away, but Candace does have a segment involved concerning this. I'm not going to give it away. Um,
Just say it
so
involves Candace and it concerns this storyline.
yes, boom, and you'll see it in a couple of weeks. Um, and I also need to publicly say that I was wrong. I thought it was Cassius Ono. Um, so Ono Riddle's where we're going for sure, right?
Oh yeah, that's definitely a thing. I think Ono's still turning heel. You were right about that part,
No,
but
Ono's
like,
already heel, homie. He turned heel a couple weeks ago.
oh, okay. Well then,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, but then definitely it's gonna be Ono versus Riddle, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
And Champa Dream.
Yep, I'm definitely here for that because like, love me some Dream.
Do you think that the Shayna and Kyrie feud being on Evolution hurts the women's division because they're essentially not there?
I don't think it necessarily hurts the women's division. It does mean, however, that whatever match they're doing at Takeover is going to have a very short build, which means whoever the challenger is going to be need to be someone they can establish quickly or someone who doesn't matter that's just getting a throwaway opportunity.
Um, and again, that's a problem in wrestling in general because it's too much wrestling and the rosters are so grossly overpopulated, men to women rather. Which it is understandable, but it is what it is. But NXT only has one female segment a show usually.
And now, granted, they do, their best to mix it up and highlight different women, so it's not like they're only giving the champ time, but it also means that there's not a lot of backup women in the wings.
Not only that, but there's on a 1 hour show with multiple male champions and one women's champion, not having the champion there kind of kills the development of that brand of that division in that show. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And well, I was gonna say much like Jericho and New Japan, but it's not because Intercontinental title doesn't have an Intercontinental division.
Well, it's not also because there's another mid-card title. There are
Yeah,
two other mid-card titles, so people still have shit to do.
absolutely. But there's nothing to do. So Nikki and Bianca are fighting because Bianca's annoyed with Nikki. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Lacey and Candice are fighting because Lacey thinks Candace isn't a real woman because she's not cooking dinner for a man. Like there's no real concrete feuds right now because nobody has anything to really concretely fight over. And they're great matches and it's interesting. But it's
Well, like they're not even making these feuds about title shots. Like there's no discernible hierarchy within the division to where like it'd be one thing if you only have the one title, but at least you have some kind of a hierarchy of challengers where I can say, okay, well, when Shayna's
Bianca's
done, the next
next,
person is up,
then
it's this
Lacey.
person that but there's none of that because you see the women so spread out so infrequently that nobody's got momentum at any given time.
So who do you want to be next, and who you think is gonna be next?
Well, I mean, I always want Bianca to be next because I love Bianca because she's wonderful and everything about her makes me happy. But who do I think is going to be next?
Yeah,
Based on the fact that, well, because we're going to have a short build and we need someone established, Nikki.
I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be Lacey.
See, I don't want it to be Lacey because I don't want it to be like a throwaway title challenge for Lacey because I think Lacey could be a bigger deal.
Well, let me tell you why I think it's gonna be Lacey. Because one, of the three people, Lacey's the only one who can really talk. Bianca's not bad, but Lacey can talk. So she can build that fast enough. And two, they already got beef because Lacey and Kyrie had a little mini feud uh before she got the title shot to face Shayna.
Oh,
So you
okay.
have something to build off of for 4 weeks of a build, since you don't have anything now.
All right, yeah. I mean, I could be on board with that. Like I said, all of the women that don't have the belt right now are interesting. So, like,
Yeah.
I'm cool with any of them.
Um. So yeah, if you're not watching NXT, you tripping. And man, Wednesdays are great. NXT UK, 205, NXT, Mae Young Classic, NXT UK. The first episode of NXT UK was one of the best hours of wrestling I've watched in a long time. They
That's high
literally,
praise.
I'm telling you, they put their balls in the pie. They were like, "Fuck it, we gonna let you motherfuckers know we for real." They started the show with Mark Andrews versus Joe Coffey with his brother. So you got some interesting stuff there. Mustache Mountain came out to a ridiculous ovation. They had a promo. You had some great vignettes. A vignette about a guy who helped train Mark Andrews and Pete Dunne, and then they left him behind. So he's coming. You had Dave Mastiff, who's gonna be a big star. Squash a geek, and when I say squashed, I mean you haven't seen Dave Mastiff. Dave Mastiff is like 350, 400 pounds, so he literally squashed the geek. And then
Hey, sometimes geeks gotta get squashed, man.
I'm saying, and then Pete Dunne and Noam Dar had a barn burner of a match. Like it was fire from top to bottom. Oh yeah, and Tony Storm beat a female geek. It was great. So yeah, NXT UK I'm excited about because I like seeing new stuff build. I like seeing new stars be built, and Pete Dunne, Trent Seven, and Tyler Bate could easily debut on Raw or SmackDown tomorrow and be not top necessarily top stars, but go to the upper mid card of the card and be fine. They are that good,
Send
and
them to
they
Raw because I think Raw's mid card needs them more. SmackDown's bloated right now.
it's fair enough.
SmackDown has more talent than they know how to use.
Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. Shout out to Bobby Fish, she back.
Shout out, Bobby. We look forward to seeing you for like a cup of coffee and then watching you catch that ass whooping from the other three. Hi, Roddy.
What's like ironically funny?
A lot of things.
So conventional wisdom will tell you, knowing their histories, that Cole and Roddy would be the guys to team up, and of course Red Dragon or the Re Dragons, whatever the fuck you call them,
I always
fictional
called him
rival.
Red Dragon, but whatever.
Me too, but Cole called them the Re Dragons on the
Whatever.
game, and I was like, is it? Because there is no two Ds, so maybe it
No,
is the Re Dragons. I don't know.
I don't know.
But it's O'Reilly and Roddy, and now this week on NXT, is gonna be Cole and Fish versus the War Raiders. Just find it funny.
I mean, I'm okay with it though because as we've said many times on this podcast, I feel like Roddy and O'Reilly have a legitimate future as a tag team. They're both early 30s. They're both very capable. They're both work well together. Their styles complement each other well. And as much as I love Roddy and as good as Roddy is in the ring, Roddy's not main roster singles wrestler.
I
But
think he
they are
can be.
both interesting enough to be great in that tag division.
Roddy is lower card to lower mid card singles wrestler, but he is top level tag team wrestler with O'Reilly. But
Yes.
I will what they've done with the Undisputed Era is tremendous and is great, and they're the best with the exception of the Tongans and the Bullet Club. All deference to the Tongans.
All deference.
Um, I think Roddy in the cruiserweight division, Roddy Roddy in the cruiserweight division could have been what Buddy Murphy was before Murphy came.
Oh, I believe that because Roddy's great. Like Roddy can go.
Go back and watch him in the little cruiserweight tournament they had at the beginning of the year. He was
Yeah, those
awesome.
great matches. Like Roddy can go.
And I have said very numerous times, and you have laughed at me. Many people have laughed at me, but I believe it. 205 Live has tons of potential. It is a while. It's gonna be a while before it reaches that potential and becomes something viable.
But
But
congrats to him on getting to 100 episodes. That's great.
100 episodes, and they need stars. They have the foundation. They're like the Phoenix Suns. They have all the pieces of a title contender except for the top one. They got number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They might even have number 2. They just don't got one. And if I don't know if that could have been a Roddy, a Ricochet, a Adam Cole, who will never go there, but you know, but somebody. And I think this is the time, especially now that they have their own time slot. They're on Wednesdays now. You can tour with them. I feel like 205 Live is on the come up. I really do. You put Ricochet over there. Maybe you put only Lorcan and Danny Burch over there so they can get
I
tag
think Lorcan and
titles.
Birch would be great over
Right.
there. The
I,
crowds are always into Oni.
yes.
Oni
Oh,
does rule.
Oni's amazing.
Yeah, Oni rules. Like that's not just a catchphrase. That's a fact. Um,
Um,
but really, the other reason though that I still think Roddy and O'Reilly need to stay together as a tag team is because I've said it many times. You know, Bobby Fish isn't ancient, but like he's
no.
early 40s. Like
Yeah.
he's old. His career is on its downtrend. That is a thing. Whereas at least O'Reilly and Strong are both like 32-ish.
So, but we're assuming that they're actually going to stay together for a couple years, right?
I mean, we're assuming that it's at least possible.
Okay.
We're assuming that it's at least possible. Because here's the thing. Kyle O'Reilly could achieve like at least solid mid-card status with those facial expressions and like his innate charisma.
I want you to understand, of the four, mind you, I hated Roddy, I hated O'Reilly, I hated Fish
I
with
mean,
a
Adam
passion
Cole's
in
the
Ring of
real
Honor.
deal.
Well, I mean, Adam Cole's been the man forever. I bought a pay
Yeah,
per
we
view
know
on Ring
that.
of Honor. I bought a pay per view on Ring of Honor for Adam Cole.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying?
We
I
all
bought a
know
final-
Adam Cole is great. Hashtag Bebe.
I bought a final battle just to see Adam Cole. So I mean, you know, but I hated the other three because I thought they were boring as shit. I thought Kyle and I hated Kyle O'Reilly the most because Kyle O'Reilly's style is so different and so MMA based, but not fighting based. It's more on my ground and the axe kick and it's just so different. And then he got to NXT, and then I saw the personality, and I was like, oh, this motherfucker is great.
Yeah, like I pretty much need him to constantly have a title just so he's constantly got a reason to play the guitar on his way to the ring.
And I'm saying, like, little small stuff like that. And now Roddy's playing along with it.
Mm-hmm.
So like you'll see him tuning up the guitar when they're having promos in the back, or stuff like that. Or Roddy will ask him, "What song you playing this time, man?" Like it's I love it.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, they're great. That's just a great faction. I'm all in for that shit.
So speaking of great factions, So,
And speaking of All In,
All In, oh, nice segue. So we just got one Bullet Club now. Is that official? Is that
I
what we're
mean
going with?
that's what it's sounding like. You know, all of the Elite guys had been tweeting for a while about how that was their last Bullet Club shirt, and it's probably their favorite, and blah blah blah. And then you had Cody tweeting out recently. He was responding to somebody like, "No, the Bullet Club is Jay White's thing now. We're not with that. Like, we were part of it for a really long time, but we've moved on."
And Fale and Tama, I'm sure, had a good belly laugh at that. It's Jay's now. Did you see the promo Jay cut about saying that he's not over the Bullet Club? He was like, "You think I'm stupid to think that I can tell those guys what to do?" That
Because
kills
Jay
it.
White knows what we on the Edge have been saying for months now. All deference to the Tongans. No smoke. You are right, and we are all wrong.
And I want to reiterate to the crowd that Jay White's nickname is Switchblade, and he walks around with a knife everywhere. And he's scared of the Tongans. He knows better
He
than to
knows
mess with
what the
them.
fuck is up. You do not cross the children of Haku.
No, you don't. And
No.
I guess you could call them the Bullet Club Oceanic Stable, cause they got New Zealand, they got
the islands
Australia,
on lockdown.
they got the islands on. Polynesia is represented.
All they need is Cocaine Kona Reeves to get his Hawaiian ass over there.
Why you playing if Juice went over there? Kona might be next. I'm with it. I'm with it.
Uh,
But yeah, I don't want to say it's a cash grab, but it's basically they're just I think they're rebranding themselves as the Elite. I think Cody might really
I
actually.
think that was the smart thing all along because, like, the rest of the tag alongs, not Cody so much, but the rest of the ancillary crew members are who they
Chase,
are
Yujiro.
because of not Chase and Yujiro. I'm talking like Hangman and Marty are as well known as they are because of BTE. Like,
Okay.
they are part of the Elite, and that is why they are as well known as they are. They're great. They're awesome. They're amazing, and I am huge fans of both of them, but they would not be as big as they are without that branding.
Hangman 100%. I think Marty's gimmick was such that he would have got noticed eventually, but Progress did a good job of showing him. But absolutely, Hangman has he has BT to thank.
Hangman came out to the actual Bullet Club theme song until like 6 months ago.
And when he got his own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he only finally got his own because he was going to be in the G1.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember watching All In and I was like, damn, that don't sound like shoot 'em up. That sounds different. No, this motherfucker got his own music. Okay.
I like the Desperado theme.
I really do too. We here at the Edge, especially my brother Kyle, are huge Hangman Page fans.
Oh yeah. Teacher solidarity. I will mark for Hangman forever and for always. Very nice.
What do Chase Ujiro and Kota do? And Kota was never Bullet Club, but he was Bullet Club adjacent.
Kota's a golden lover, so he don't have to worry about it.
You say that, but Kenny is really out here doing these singles feuds, and Kota about to have to fend for himself when he hopefully faces the future hopefully champ Will Ospreay of
Listen,
the Openweight champ.
Kota is so confident in himself that he ain't signing a contract no fucking where. So, like, we ain't got to worry about Kota because Kota don't worry about Kota.
That's a good point.
So, like, he gonna be all right. Chase will be okay because him and Hangman are a couple of good old Virginia boys. And Yujiro's old money TNA, old money and New Japan. So, like, Yujiro gonna be fine.
You know what I'd like to see?
Tokyo Latina?
Well, of course. Oh, shit. My God. The first time I saw her, I was like, "Who?" Did they let a stripper come out with him? And I was, do you know what her Twitter handle is?
No, I forgot.
030 Muffin Ass. Like, she knows. She's not playing.
She's a whole
She
step.
knows it. Oh, yes. No, I'd actually like to see. It won't happen, but I'd actually like to see Yujiro go to Lij and team back up with Naito. For those of you who don't know, Yujiro and Naito were tag partners when they first broke in together.
Yeah, I'd be cool with that. That'd be cool.
And I mean, the Tokyo Pimp thing would kind of fit in with.
Oh, I mean, it would fit in with
LIJ.
LIJ.
Yeah.
It would fit in with LIJ. And he's Japanese, so he'd be allowed to join LIJ because they're the only truly Japanese stable left. No, I'm like
No,
you
you're right.
laugh, but I'm serious. Like they are the only just like full on Japanese stable anymore.
But exception, but Chaos except for best friends. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
I forgot about best friends.
And
Yeah,
Rocky.
Rocky don't count, man. Rocky don't
Man,
wrestle.
Rocky counts. Roppongi 3K wouldn't be a thing without Rock.
Yeah, but Rocky needs Roppongi 3K more than Roppongi 3K needs Rocky.
I mean, Rocky's got Beretta and Trent. New best friends.
The new best friends.
Shout out to TKT.
So is
Yeah.
Rocky gonna be the new Gato for Chaos?
I don't know. As long as he keeps making fire ass theme songs, I don't give a fuck what Rocky does. That Roppongi Vice 3 theme song is forever my favorite.
Do we yeah, the original one, yeah. Do you have any predictions for the Super Junior Tag League and the World Tag League coming up?
Well, I know the Super Junior Tag League finals are coming up not too long from now because the
I
field's
haven't kept
really
up.
short. I haven't had time to keep up. Like I said, this is the one of the couple of times a year where grades are due, and
Yeah.
that's always a really busy time when you're a teacher.
And by the
So
way,
I
it's
haven't
eight
caught up to it
teams.
yet.
It's 8 teams, and they had to make up 4 of them.
Yup. They had to bring in a new member of LIJ so that they could have a partner for Bushi.
They had to bring in a new member of Bullet Club so that
Ishimori would have one.
Ishimori would have a partner, and Ishimori just joined Bullet Club.
Yeah.
He just joined New Japan. So yeah.
Yeah. So like the junior tag division's in a rough spot right now. I believe my official prediction was I think my official prediction was LIJ to win it because of
Tagaki,
because Tagaki.
who's killing it
Uh,
by the way right now.
yeah, Tagaki's a star, man. Like I had said a couple weeks ago, if you're a follower of Japanese wrestling, Tagaki's a star.
And by the
Like
way,
that's a huge signing for them.
I've learned.
Yeah.
I've seen some of his shit since then. Man, it's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, Tagaki was a big pickup, and he fits right in with LIJ. So, like,
He does.
I mean,
Much-
in fairness, everybody fits in with LIJ because the whole Tranquilo thing is just do whatever the fuck makes you happy.
Right, but Tagaki was doing that in Dragon Gate, so.
Yeah, so it's perfect.
And
Works for everyone.
I think Robbie Eagles fits in Bullet Club.
Yeah, for sure.
Even though he's not as vicious as those guys, he kind of has the same type of vibe they do.
Thing is, New Japan really needs juniors, period, right now, because on the junior side, I mean, some of it has been injuries, some of it has been guys that have been moved up, but they're kind of shallow on high-end junior talent right now, aside from some of the old standbys that you've seen over and over and over again. Osprey, Sho and Yo, Skrull,
Kushida.
our boy Kushida. Like,
they brought Chris Sabin in, bro. Like I ain't seen a Chris Sabin match in 3 years.
yeah. But I mean, him partnering with Kushida at least makes sense because Kushida and Alex Shelley used to be the time splitters.
And Alex Shelley
Alex Shelley retired,
Sabin,
so
and Alex
Shelley
and Sabin. Yeah, so they're literally just having the threesome of all threesomes.
Yeah. So like, my pick for actual World Tag League is either Killer Elite Squad or Dark Horse pick, the Best Friends, Super Dark Horse.
Oh, so Best Friends versus the Tongans versus God.
Oh, I mean, I'm still gonna pick the Tongans because I'm not stupid, but like, shout out to Best Friends.
I'm just saying to win the World Tag. I'm just saying that would be the tag title match.
Oh yeah,
tag title match going into Wrestle Kingdom.
I mean, I think it'll probably be Killer Elite Squad, but
yeah, probably. I love me some Chucky T.
Yeah, Chucky T is so smooth. That's the thing that I love about Chucky T. Everything he does is so smooth. You can tell he's been doing it for years. Mm-hmm. You can tell he's comfortable wrestling the style that he wrestles because everything down to his transitions are just so seamless.
I wasn't even talking about in the ring. I was just talking about it. He's funny as hell to me.
Oh yeah, I love Chucky T. Period. Chucky T is hilarious.
Him and Beretta are both great in ring. I was just talking about the motherfucker's funny.
Oh, I love their Twitter exchanges. Yeah. Love Twitter exchanges. So great.
My only issue with Killer Elite Squad, and they make the most sense because they are coming back to the
established
title.
tag team, and the only other established tag team realistically
The
that's
Bucks.
other than the Bucks, who are not in World Tag League, would be Evil and Sonata. But as we know, Evil is slated to face Jericho, so it probably ain't gonna be Evil and Sonata.
Can I give a hot take?
Of course.
I think God wins the World Tag League, and they challenge the Bucks.
Okay. That'd
Because you
be an
know, if you
interesting
win
way
it,
to
you
go
have the
with it.
right to
Yeah.
pick your own. Yeah.
Yeah, you pick your own opponent. That'd be an interesting way to go.
I'm with it, and
Yeah, yeah.
establishes Bullet Club as the premier organization right now, as they're trying to do.
Right. Which makes sense because they're trying to kind of like revitalize the brand itself, so to speak, get it back to its roots. Revitalize isn't necessarily the right word because that implies that they fell off. They never fell off, but they're trying to take it back to the roots.
Sure, but I mean,
So like, Fale needs to come down to the ring in every match and just like drop motherfuckers, and then God takes the pins.
but we've dealt with those guys wrestling, random mid card tag matches and never open weight 6-man tag matches and all these for the past year and a half. So now they're really being featured again, and they
Yeah,
have a new. He's not the leader, but he definitely is looked at as the front
a
man
new
in Jay
weapon.
White. Yeah, a new weapon is a good way to put it. But that's how Tama put it. But a new weapon, I definitely think that revitalize is a fair way to think about it from a TV perspective. And they ain't gonna do shit with Naito.
Nope.
Evil gonna catch that ass whooping.
Yup.
So we ain't talking about Lij right now unless it's
Unfortunately, we
Tagaki.
not.
Unless it's Tagaki.
We are not.
Chaos is in disarray, and
Yep.
everything good about Chaos is, honestly, if I'm being dead ass honest, is Gaijin, Osprey, and best friends. Um, Suzuki Gun is crazy as fuck. Zack
Yeah.
Saber, but that
Zack Saber Time is probably my favorite Gaijin right now.
fair enough. But I'm just saying, if you had to pick, Taguchi is Taguchi, and
Yep.
which isn't Taguchi. So if we had to pick a stable that's right now at the tops of it, it's Bullet Club.
It'd probably be the OGs, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be the OGs, unless the Elite actually come back with the Elite branding and say we here.
Maybe they'll come back as the Golden Elite, and that'll
Yeah,
be the official branding.
but Golden Elite doesn't encompass Marty and
But no, but
Hangman
maybe that'll
and
be the new
Chase and
thing.
Yujiro.
But maybe that'll be the new thing.
I just want to know what Coda's thinking, because Coda's the only person I can understand. Even Yujiro speaks English. Not good, but he speaks it. I be wondering all the time what Coda be thinking, because Coda just got thrown into this world with
Here's the
these
thing. Here's the
guys.
thing. No, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Coda may not be like good at English, but you ain't been around this many English speaking people for that long, and you don't know no English. Like he knows a little bit.
You think
He
he's
just might
kayfabing?
not be.
You
I
think he's
think I
kayfabing
think
like
a lot of it
Tajiri?
is K. No, I think a lot of it is kayfabing because yeah, he spent a huge portion of his career in Japan. I'm not saying that Koda's like a fluent English speaker, but like
Well,
Kenny and Koda are legitimately very good friends. Like they spend a lot of fucking time together.
that's
He's
what we
with a
call them.
lot of English speakers all the fucking time.
That's what we call them. Really good friends.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna call him for the sake of being nice.
Okay.
Anyway, he around that many English speakers all the time. He knows a little bit. He might not be fluent, but he knows a little bit.
One of my favorite wrestling stories is, I can't remember who it was, but they were talking about Tajiri, and they were like, Tajiri always, he would never speak English in front of us. But I'm like, I know you speak English, motherfucker. And they were in the car, and something happened, and Tajiri was sick of it. He was like, man, pull over, I gotta go take a piss. And they were like, wait a minute, what? What? Tajiri speaks perfect English. He just
Yeah,
always kayfabes everybody.
yeah.
So
So like, I think Coda. I think it's a lot of that.
I
Like, oh,
believe it.
I'm gonna pretend I don't speak no English because it's easier that way.
I believe it. Hey, and shout out to Okada, because Okada's worked hard in his English.
Yes, he has.
Okada's cutting full on promos in English.
Yeah,
Like,
man. He's come a
shout out
long
to
way from Scooby Dooby Doo.
I was I was talking to Clive the other day, and we were talking about NXT UK, and I was like, man, I know it'll never happen, but Marty would have been perfect for this. And he was like, I've never seen a Marty Skrull match. I've seen two. I've seen the Wrestle Kingdom and All In. And he was like, and to be fair, I was like, both were great matches, and I was like, well, to be fair, Marty was wrestling Okada, so Marty's great, but Okada is out of this world good.
Yeah, Okada's amazing. Okada's amazing. There's no other word for it. He's just Okada.
What else you got, man? We got anything?
Oh, I don't think I have anything because like I just don't have the energy to spit any fire on Ring of Honor this week because like it's just so sad.
Well, are we gonna talk about how I literally forgot who the world champ was like 2 hours ago?
Oh, I mean, we can tell the listeners how we were talking about if WWE ever had an all-black pay-per-view, what kind of a card you could use, and including as many current black wrestlers as possible. And Rance didn't even think of fucking Jay White.
And I had Jay Lethal.
Or not Jay White, Jay Lethal. See, like that's how insignificant Jay Lethal is.
And I
had a great idea for how you use him. You do what the BTE guys are doing, and you have him spend the entire show vacillating between Black Machismo and Jay Lethal.
And I had like 8-9 matches on the card, and I completely forgot about Jay Lethal. That goes to show you.
Black Machismo in all the barbecue skits. He can be Jay Lethal in his like actual match.
Oh yes, and he mentioned barbecue because at an all black pay-per-view, there's gonna be a barbecue somewhere. Uncle Mark Henry's gonna be barbecuing on the grill, and that's gonna be the interview
He's
spot.
gonna come over and say that he makes better ribs, and they're gonna have a rib off.
That's gonna be a match later on in the card. Saxton's gonna be like Bobby Heenan at the first Raw. He's gonna keep trying to get in, but we keep kicking him out. It's gonna be hilarious. But yeah.
See, I figured Coach would be the person that keeps trying to get in and you kick him out, and you let Saxton and Booker be the actual commentating team.
No, but I'm keeping with storyline that Saxton is a lame.
Well, I mean, Saxton is a little bit of a lame. We can put Percy on commentary. That's right.
Man, can we speak of how Percy has worked so hard to become? I'm not gonna say he's good.
Commentator.
I'm not even gonna call him good. He might be good.
He's working hard to be good. He might not be good yet, but he is working hard to get there.
Yes, and him and Nigel spend so much time together. You can tell. And what I appreciate is when Nigel had the baby and he was out for like that takeover and then like tapings, and there was just Morrow and Percy, and the commentary was still top notch. I was like, okay, that dude really learned his business, and I'm shout out to Percy.
Well, I mean, Morrow and Nigel are two great people to learn from. If you're trying to figure this job out, like those are two really good people to learn from.
I didn't like Nigel when he first came to WWE though, on camera, on commentary, only because he would never let anybody else get a word in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're in a booth with 3 people, you have to learn to take
how to take turns.
That's probably Graves' best ability is he knows when to shine and he knows when to step back and let somebody else shine. You know what I mean? And Nigel has learned that.
Right now, my biggest issue with the commentary, I like Morrow, do not get me wrong. I like Morrow, but I need him to tone down with some of these metaphors.
Yeah, it's too much.
Like, too much. Every match does not need some weird 30-step metaphor that I gotta, like, crisscross to follow.
I agree. But, and I hate to say this, but I treat Morrow with kid gloves after I saw the documentary. And knowing
I love that documentary. It's so beautiful.
If you're not crying at the end of it, you don't have a soul.
Oh, but, so beautiful, so tragic.
Knowing what he's went through and knowing how he has to live every day, and knowing the fear that he lives with every day of not killing himself.
Oh, I give Morrow a pass. Like I'm not saying that like we need to fire Morrow. I give Morrow a pass for the rest of his life. But I just like that's my one thing with the commentary. I'm like, just tone it down just a little bit, Morrow, just a little bit.
But I didn't. I mean, I think he's a great sports announcer. I didn't like him in sports entertainment because of a lot of that. But again, I can admit he's good. But once I saw that and understand how his mind works and how he has to come up with these things to keep his mind sane, I was like, all right, cool, man. I get it. Have at it, brother. Please, if you got
Do
to give
you?
me, if you got to give me a million Lady Gaga and Cardi B memes or anecdotes, I'll take it.
Do
I just
you?
want you here. I just want you here.
Yeah.
Um,
That's totally fair. Totally fair.
tell the people where they can find you, brother.
All right, you can find me on Twitter at Dr. S'mores. You can also find our missing brother Karl, hashtag bring Karl back, on Twitter at Outsider Curvin. As always, he has the best Twitter of the three of us. So if you're going to follow anybody, follow Karl.
Hey, I have a hell of a retweet. I have a hell of a retweet game on my
This is
Twitter.
true. This is true. You will spread the shine.
Yeah, follow me at it's Raycash, Rey as in Mysterio, Cash as in dollars. Follow the show at Outsiders Edge SS. Follow the brand at Social Suplex Podcast Network, wherever you can find or listen to podcasts. Also, don't forget we are also a member of the Chairshot Radio Network. And what do you do, Kyle? Blah.
Well, you always use your head.
Yes. So chairshot.com, at thechairshot.com, at Chairshot Radio, which is also my other show with Mr. Christopher Platt. So follow that, take a look at that. Yeah, man. Columns coming from me and Karl. Y'all's names too fucking similar. Me and Karl eventually.
I apologize for nothing.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's all I needed to hear. um, yeah, follow everybody on all the shows on Social Suplex, all the shows on Chairshot Podcast Network. Yeah, man, we out here doing work. Trying to give you this good content. It's a crazy couple of weeks in wrestling. We have Evolution, we have Crown Jewel, we have Survivor Series coming up. Everything is happening. Major turns. Uh,
And through it all, man, at the end of the day, we're just a couple of young brothers out here doing the best that we can, working every day, living our lives, and we're chasing after our dreams. So if we said anything today that made you feel some type of way or got you all angry and salty and pissed in your happy juice, we just want you to know that we're just out here following our dreams, and you've got to respect that.
but if you don't,
We don't give a fuck.
thanks for listening,
Thanks,
everybody.
ladies and gentlemen. Have a good one.